Hello students, today we're going to look at how you take data from the web and then you take that data, you've put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and then you create a graph or a chart in order to emphasize your position. So in this case we've gone to Wikipedia, we have some data here about the top 20 videos of all time through YouTube. So I've selected this data, opened up Microsoft Excel, and I've pasted the data into Microsoft Excel. You'll note that I've also included my source here because I want to be able to find that later on. One of the requirements of your project is to actually tell where your sources are. Once we have the data in our Excel spreadsheet, we need to understand a few terms of the Excel spreadsheet in order to work with it. The first one is a column. So each column goes up and down, and then we have rows that go left and right. So our starting point is to select the data that we wish to graph. So we're going to take column C from cell C2 over to D2, and we're going to select all this data that we're going to graph. So from C2 to C21 and from D2 to D21. Once we've selected the data, we want to insert a chart. They're called in Microsoft Excel. So we're going to select a pie chart to start with. Once you select any one of these charts, it's going to show you a brief picture of the chart. In this case, we're going to take our chart and we are going to use a 3D pie chart, I think, in this case. Once we've selected our chart, we can make it a little bit bigger by simply moving the chart around, grabbing the handlebars in the corner, and just making our chart larger. Now that should be a little bit easier to see. One of the things I want to be able to do with this chart is I want to be able to format the data a bit. So if I want to go up and get rid of quotes on this data, I simply go in and I remove the quotes from cell C3, or sorry, C2, and you'll notice that down here baby has quotes on it. However, it's removed up here in the cell. When I hit enter, it will change it in the chart as well. So we can always go back to our source data to change anything. We could go back into our source data and change our values as well, and it will also change them in our chart. We can also go to our chart and we can change the title, which is always a good idea. So we're going to call it Top 20 YouTube Videos. And now we have our chart. So in order to emphasize our points with this chart, we're going to want to do a bit of formatting. So if we right click on the chart, we can format the data series. One of the good things you can do about a pie chart is you can actually angle the first slice. So I want to put Gangnam Style out in front, and I know that's the blue one because that's the biggest one, and I'm just going to move it over and I'm going to put it right out in front where it kind of sits right in your face. And I think I'm going to explode it out a little bit so it makes it look even a little bit bigger because it's sitting out there on its own. Now, second thing I want to do is I want to be able to tell which one is Gangnam Style, because if you look at all these colors, it's a little hard. So I'm going to right click on the chart again. I'm going to go add data labels, and I'm going to add those data labels. And at this point, my data labels are all the numbers. That's not quite what I want. So I'm going to select them. I'm going to right click on them, and I'm going to format those data labels. I want a percent because I want to say Gangnam Style is a lot of the video, a high percentage of those videos that have been shown. So you'll notice here we still have the 1,982,935 or sorry, 1,982,935,781. But I'm more interested in just showing the 15% because I know what my presentation is going to be like. So I can go over and select value and get rid of the value. I can also choose to put in the category name, in which case the name of each video would come up. So I've reformatted this chart in order to better emphasize the point that I wish to make on it. Now, depending on your point, you may wish to change this chart a little bit. So that totally depends on you. So that's one type of chart you can do. Now we could take this chart, we could right click on it, we copy the chart, then we can open up Microsoft PowerPoint, take a slide, and we just paste the chart in, and our charts all in here. So that's one step in order to get towards being able to create your videos. Let's look at another type of chart. So we'll get rid of this one. We'll just delete it. And I would recommend when you're working on these, you actually just take your charts and kind of move them off to the side where they're out of the way. But it's up to you. Now we can also take this chart and we can go insert, and we can insert another chart. So I'm going to insert a bar graph in this case. So I'm going to go over here, select my data once again, insert bar graph, and I can see the number of songs for each video. Now the idea still remains the same. I can go up and select the title and change the title, and you'll want to do that. So top 20 videos, and that happens really quick. I'm not going to spend time right now doing that, but one of my main goals is to actually make this bar look much higher than it is. So if I click on these, on the numbers on the right, and right click on them, then I can format this axis. So I'm going to format the axis, and I want to actually change where the minimum number is. So my minimum number right now is 2.0 e to the 9, which means 2.0 times 10 to the 9th, which is 2 billion. So what I want to do is I'm going to select this, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to make my minimum number 1 million, and we'll see what that does. So you can see how that lowers this number, and you need to play around a little bit to find the best number. So as I change these numbers, it impacts the size of the bar. So I want to leave this at 2 million, and the bars are going to keep changing. So if I look down here, I can see that 10 million seems to be my lowest number right now. Let's raise that number to 500 million. 500 million. Whoops, it didn't like that with the spaces. And we can see it has a big impact. Now Gangnam Style is looking even more popular. So we can change how that looks by doing that. We can also select on individual bars. We can change the color of the bars. We can change the fill. So for example, we can select a solid fill and choose a color that better meets our needs. And we can play around with all kinds of different things that we wish to do with these charts. It's kind of up to you. So that's a second type of chart, and I encourage you to check and see how you can play around. There's different effects you can do, such as a shadow, color, transparency. You can create a glow. Once again though, you're going to take these charts, you're going to copy them, you're going to go over to your PowerPoint slide, insert a new slide, and then you simply just paste those in, and then you have your chart again. If your slide comes up and it has different parts in behind that you don't want, simply delete them. And within here you can also change that as well. You want to save this to your hard drive, keep it, and then you'll use it for your presentation. So I hope this helps get you started, and don't feel scared to ask your teacher for more help. Thank you very much.